gluten. I hate it. I mean, not being able to have it in my life, I hate. What a pain in the... Is it going to be like this forever? Well, the answer might not be yes, and we're going to find out together because there's a new product with a new theory behind it, because we've all tried various products. You know, I just can't stand this, not having the gluten. It's such a major pain. And you can't avoid getting gluten in your life. That's the big issue. Anyway, I've tried gluten-ease, I've tried prebiotics and probiotics and Pepto-Bismol and, you know, everything there is, and nothing works except just staying away from the gluten. And we all know that's pretty much impossible. One way or another, you're going to get glutened every now and then. And just happened a couple of weeks ago from a salad of all things. Can't stay away from it. So, but there is a product, and maybe there's hope, and I'm going to explain that. First, a little background. About 7 years ago, moron doctors destroyed my GI tract. Just wiped it out. A lot of problems, but one of them is no gluten. I just can't handle it at all. So I had the garden hose camera from top to bottom and back around again, and I'm officially diagnosed as non-celiac gluten sensitive. Big deal. So that's what that is. Now, you can't fully avoid gluten, which means you can't fully avoid getting triggered with this stuff. And even it took me until a year ago to figure out that oatmeal was giving me a lot of grief. And in fact, it was. And I was drinking oat milk in my coffee too. Really messed things up. And I eat oatmeal every day. I like oatmeal. No more. And that helped a lot. Getting oatmeal out of my life helped a lot, even though I was eating gluten-free certified oatmeal. It has certain characteristics that mimic gluten. So no more of that. Stuck with not having gluten. But now, we together, we're going to do an experiment because there's a new product with a new concept. And it's an enzyme, again, but it works on this premise. What if it's not? We're not talking about celiacs. Celiacs were definitely gluten. We're talking about people like me, non-celiac gluten sensitive. What if it's not gluten? What if it's FODMAPs? And if you've studied FODMAPs at all, you know they're even worse than glutens because they're everywhere. If you try to get rid of FODMAPs out of your diet, you might as well live on printer paper. Just, you know, can't do it. But they're everywhere. And there's no treatment for it. There's nothing for it. So you're stuck with them. You can avoid them as best as possible, but you're going to eat some of those rascals. Well, the theory is this. Almost every gluten is a FODMAP. That's just part of the deal. And then there are other things on top of glutens that are also FODMAPs. It's just a huge list of what's in FODMAPs. So this company called Enzyme, FODzyme, they came up with a formula of an enzyme that takes care of FODMAPs. Now, the problem with FODMAPs is you eat them and the body can't process about 92% of them. They just go through your system and play havoc with everything. Inflammation and all that kind of stuff. Leaky gut. So this enzyme, you don't take it daily like you would with like a probiotic. What you do is you take it right with a meal. It's a powder. And you sprinkle it on your food when you're eating FODMAPs. And so that gives you the enzyme to help break them down and get them through you. And the concept being that what if it's not gluten that I have an issue with? What if it's FODMAPs? And I'm just avoiding gluten and thereby mostly avoiding the problem with the FODMAPs. So I've ordered this product and I'm going to show it to you in a few minutes. And we're going to do this experiment together. I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to eat bagels 3 days in a row. I know from experience, if I eat a bagel every day for 3 days in a row, bam, I know for sure that I've been glutened. So we'll give that a go and we'll see what happens. And here's the deal. If it doesn't work, well, it's going to be a very short experiment because it didn't work and I'll know about it. If it does work, then that means we have to move on to some more difficult tests like pizza or number one, beer. Haven't had a beer in years. Can't have a beer. And if I have a beer, it's ugly. So I'm going to start with something that a little more tolerable, being one bagel per day. hopefully with cream cheese. What a treat. And then we'll see how it works. You'll be there with me, and maybe if it works, it'll help you too. Well, what do they claim, they being Enzyme, what do they claim about their product? Because they make a lot of claims. So let's take a look at their website. One of the things that's a little bit bothering is that they have a big banner on there, 30-day guarantee. Well, I clicked on it and nothing happens. It doesn't link to anywhere. And I went through their website. They have a lot of pages, but I couldn't find anything about their guarantee. So I don't know. Figure that out. But they go into great detail on what it does for you, how it breaks things down, activated at the first contact with food and while you chew. Now that's pretty important, because what we normally are used to with enzymes is we take like a supplement once a day, maybe a morning one with a prebiotic and one in the evening with a probiotic, that kind of a routine. And so they get in your system and they try to make your gut stronger with having all those little munchy guys chewing away at everything. This actually works at the same time that you're digesting with your food. Breaks down FODMAPs into simple sugars before they reach the lower GI tract. That's interesting. Each enzyme, because it's loaded, you know, there are so many millions of enzymes. So this thing attacks lactase, lactose, all the galactides, which are the sugars that we don't process, fructans, which is really important. It's supposed to knock the hell out of the fructans, like 90%. And those are the bad guys that you find a lot in beer, in our super refined flours. You find those things like Wonder Bread kind of junk that I hope nobody's eating. Claims over 90% that one dose of Enzyme's fructan hydrolase was able to degrade 90% of fructan, 6 cloves of garlic, within half an hour. That's pretty impressive. That's a beer. So if it works, fructose, 70% of fructose was released. So that's something. They have in-house research, they claim clinical trials, and they claim third-party testing. So, you know, they have a lot of claims. But here's an interesting thing. I do a lot with artificial intelligence, and I use 5 different AIs, and I pose the same questions to them to see, compare their answers. And I put it to ChatGPT. What do you think about Enzyme? And it came back, and it was pretty flattering. It was definitely flattering. It liked the science that was behind it. It liked the third-party laboratories that had worked on it. I wouldn't have bought this stuff otherwise. So it was encouraging. Now, what's discouraging, I have to be upfront about this, this stuff is pricey. So it's about $65 for 30 little packages. So each package of powder is 1 meal, unless you're eating some super duper thing. So that means that you're getting 30 doses for, well, after tax and everything, about $75. That's a lot of money. Or you can get a little cup that's good for 60 doses, and that's $65 because they don't have to pay for all that packaging. That's what I bought. But again, package shipping and taxes and all, it's about $75 for that thing. So it needs to work for that kind of a price. And I'm hoping it will. So it's time to get on with the science. Well, let's see what my $75 bought me. This is exactly how it showed up in the mailbox. They used postal service. And so just a lot of stuff going on here on the top. You're about to make food painless. It says right there, you're about to make food painless. Sprinkle a dose of Enzyme evenly over your meal and mix. Add an extra dose if continuing to eat after 30 minutes. That's good to know. If you can't mix it in, simply sprinkle the full dose on the first bite. Make sure to chew well for enzymes to integrate. That's also good to know. Don't overheat it, apparently. Avoid adding the powder to your cooking, as enzymes will deactivate at very high temperatures. This is good information. Individual dosage needs may vary. It's fine and safe to use less or more than the standard dose. Okay, so what did I get? Some more paperwork in here. 5-day quick start protocol. Take a moment to breathe, relax. Okay, here we go with all of that mojo stuff. Mix directly, can't mix. Don't do the same thing we just went over. Let's see what I actually bought. It's very small. I can save this paper for Christmas wrapping. No, not that cheap. Close, but not that much. Well, they certainly wrapped it. A lot more packaging here than there needs to be. All right, what do we have here? Supplement information, FODzyme, enzyme supplement, net weight. For best results, sprinkle a 1/4 teaspoon dose of powder, 1/4 teaspoon. Right before eating, sprinkle a second dose if you still eat after 30 minutes. Let's see, is it sealed? It is, I can feel the seal under there. And $5 worth of powder just came out. Okay, there's a desiccant right there, and it's powder. No little scoop. There it is. I guess that, yeah, there's a little scoop. All right, look at that. $5 worth of powder. Now we know what to do. It's time to try it. Well, here we are. Cream cheese bagel. And my huge fingers can barely get in here, but I'll get one little scoop of this. Sprinkle it on here evenly. Seems a lot for a bagel, but you know, there's a lot of gluten in there and a lot of FODMAP. And again, this is not supposed to stop gluten. This is supposed to stop FODMAPs. There we go. And I got some on my finger, so give it a lick. And nope, there is no flavor to it at all. That's good. I was concerned that it might affect the flavor. So that's that. You don't need to watch me eat. I'll be doing this for the next 3 days, and we'll see how it goes. Well, here I am, and it's day 2 of my bagel routine, and I was not planning on doing a little segment today because, you know, we're just 3 days like I've been talking about, but something new that I want to talk about and put this segment in here because I have been studying the company and the product and the claims, representations, all that kind of thing, and it turns out that they are not touting this or positioning this FODzyme, ta-da, FODzyme. They're not positioning this as a treatment. They're positioning it as a cure. Curious, huh? Now that's my word, not their word. I didn't find them use cure anywhere, but here's how the science behind it, science thinking behind it goes, is your gut is torn up. You don't have the good guys in there, the microbes, the enzymes, and all of that to process these FODMAPs or glutens. And so this supplements them, and here's where it's different. Instead of taking a probiotic or prebiotic every day, you take this and it rebuilds those missing enzymes. And it makes your gut, your biome, once again healthy. And so what they're saying is give it 5 days, give it longer, because once you've rebuilt it, you've rebuilt it. You don't need this stuff anymore. So you're good to go. Therefore, this experiment is going to go on more than 3 days. I will keep you posted, but it's going to go on more than 3 days. And by the way, at day 2, I'm fine so far, but normally it takes 3 days for this stuff to hit me. So that's a very, very interesting twist. Can you imagine how all of us will feel if our biome gets back in shape and we can just go out and have a piece of pizza without worrying about it, without sprinkling this stuff on the food. Man, that'd just be a game changer, because I would like to have that beer. All right, I'll get back to you again when we're on day 3.
Well, it's day 3, and I think I'm fine. Why am I being ambiguous about that? Because I got could be some inflammation. I can't really tell, but that's a really good thing, because normally, I've done my 3 bagels. Normally, it would have hit me. So, some information. They're definitely pushing a 5-day protocol, and that's fine. Go for it. Because again, they're trying to cure the gut, like I just described. Some of the things they're saying is it's fine if you're extra sensitive or you're having large meals. You can double the dose or put more on it. So that's good. Here's something. How to know if FODzyme is working. FODMAPs generally cause digestive issues 4 to 8 hours after a meal. Well, I'm not one of those guys. And again, I'm not talking specifically about FODMAPs. It could be gluten, could be FODMAPs, we don't know. It takes time for the FODMAPs to reach the large intestines, where they are fermented and trigger bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation, and abdominal pain. Ah, what a wonderful life it is. So if you feel well 4 to 8 hours after eating with FODzyme, this is a sign FODzyme can help you tolerate high FODMAP foods. And then there's a little also below that. Symptoms like burping, belching, or reflux may still be present at meals. These are typically unrelated to FODMAPs and FODzyme. So some other questions. Is there a risk of using too much? The answer is no, it's highly safe, according to them. So do you have to avoid fructose and polyols and altogether? No. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to stay with this at least for another couple of days. I'm going to give it the 4 or 5 days, not the 3. For one thing, I'm liking my bagels in the morning, and we'll see what happens. And it leaves me in a little bit of a quandary. Should I wrap this up now and post it so you guys can get on board and know what's going on and make some decisions for yourself? Should I keep it going? Should I keep this going for 2 more days? And then publish it so that you have some information? Or should I keep on experimenting beyond that if things are feeling okay? The answer is, I don't know. It would help a lot if you guys would hit that subscribe button. I can post this one. Hit that subscribe button if you're interested in following along and seeing where this goes. Then you'll know when I post again, and I'll try to be diligent about it, because I sure want to know what the answer is. I want to know if I can, kind of get back to a regular life. That would be really swell. So hit the subscribe, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, and I will try to pursue this and not turn this particular video into some 20-minute, 30-minute thing like that. I'll do maybe 1 and 2 parts or 1 and 3 parts. All right? Cool.
Okay, it's day 5, and I've had my 5th bagel. And as a kicker, last night I made a beef stroganoff. It's wonderful. You should have been here. I love to cook. And I used egg noodles, so durum wheat, high in gluten. And I took a double dose of the magic powder with that. And so even before then, I was definitely reacting. So on day 4, I certainly was reacting. And today, day 5, So, definitely less than I would expect, but I couldn't put a number on it. I couldn't say that it's 10% less, 30% less, maybe even as high as 30% less. So there might be some value to the stuff. Again, it's coming down to, is it gluten or is it FODMAPs? And certainly it's looking like I'm a gluten guy, and not a FODMAP guy. But I'm going to continue. I have some ideas to continue this. I'm not going to keep this video going any longer. I'll talk about that. But I'm going to continue experimenting with some different concepts with this stuff, and then I'll do another video for it. And then there are 2 products that are specifically for gluten. And They both come highly recommended by many users. Problem is they're not available in the United States, but you can mail order them, and I have. And so I'm going to try both of those in a similar fashion to what I've done here. I'm going to try both of those once I get recovered, and we'll see how it goes. So this is the part where I ask you, what do you think about it? I mean, is it worth doing? The comment button is right under the video. Hit that comment button. Tell me. I respond to all comments. And see where you want this to go and how you want it to go. Hit that subscribe, of course, and then you'll know when I come up with a new one. But for now, the verdict is, I don't know. Again, is it because I'm gluten and not FODMAPs? You'll have to try it yourself. I continue to research this stuff. It continues to get really good reviews from a lot of people. But Gluten-Ease gets good reviews from a lot of people too. So you got to take it with a $75 grain of salt. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. Hit the subscribe, drop some comments, find out where this thing should go.